Hi, I'm Attorney Ummi, and this is the first video in my series, The Law in Plain English. My goal is to educate the average person about the importance of legal planning. Have you ever thought about what would happen to your kids when you die? Who would take care of them? Have you ever thought about what would happen to your business? Who would take over when you die? Do you want your hard-earned money to go to the government when you die? Are you and your business legally protected? These are some of the things we're going to be talking about in this series. Today, we're going to focus on estate planning and giving you a bird's eye view of what estate planning is and why it's important. I personally do not like the term estate planning. It is too legalese and it's confusing. And I like to think of estate planning as a proactive plan you make about what happens to your loved ones when you die, what happens to your body when you become incapacitated, and what happens to your business and all your assets when you die. So think of it as a plan for life and not a plan for death. Because when you make this plan and you make them legally enforceable, then you're going to have a lot more peace of mind knowing that the people you leave behind know exactly what to do when you're gone. In a nutshell, estate planning is a roadmap for your loved ones when you're gone, your comfort when you become incapacitated, and a guide to your loved ones as to what happens to your assets and your children, including your business, when you die. You see, estate planning is something that we all know that we need to do because it's important, but we tend to procrastinate as humans. Most people don't have estate planning because of a misconception they have about it. And there's so many misconceptions about what estate planning is and whether it's even important or not. And I'm going to talk about just 3 of the misconceptions that stop most people from having an estate plan. The most common one I hear is estate planning is for the rich. Like I've just explained, estate planning is obviously for anyone who has control over what happens to their body and their loved ones when they die. It's really not just for the rich, it's for anyone who wants control. Because when you don't have a plan, your estate has a plan for you anyway. The second misconception I hear is my spouse gets everything. That is absolutely not true. In most situations, when you have kids especially, your spouse does not get everything. So a marriage certificate is not a license for your spouse to get whatever you leave behind. I'll give you an example. My client lost her husband and she thought everything was going to go to her when her husband died. Unfortunately, they had kids and she had to split everything in half with the kids. Well, her daughter did not want to sell the house that her husband left behind, but this client wanted to sell the house because she couldn't afford to keep it out. Unfortunately, she had no choice but to keep the house because her daughter would not sign the documents to let her sell the house. These are some of the situations that come up when you don't have an estate plan. The third misconception I want to talk about is most people think estate planning is too expensive. Now, I'm not going to tell you that having an estate plan is cheap, but I'll tell you what, it is almost always less than half of what it's going to cost your loved ones to go through what we call probate. And probate is something I'm going to be talking about in the future. But it's basically what you have to go through if you don't have an estate plan. You have to go through what is called the probate process. I hope you learned something about estate planning today. I know this is a short video, but I wanted to give you a quick overview of what estate planning is